great chaos, when the Earth and the Moon were at war with each other. A daredevil from the moon piloted a bizarre aircraft. It was feared, and because of its shape, called Einhander.
This is the incredible Einhander for the original Sony Playstation, released by Squaresoft in 1997. And there's a bit of a backstory here that they give you. But Einhander is German for one-hander. At least I think that's how you pronounce it. And I think it relates to a one-handed sword. You can start the game off with 3 different configurations of your Einhander fighter. This is the first in a 2-part review. I'm breaking this up over 2 parts because this game is fun just to sit back and watch. It's a beautiful game and one of the most well-designed that I've ever played. Now, the one-handed thing relates to the manipulator arm, as they call it, that can change different, that can use different gun pods. So it's a nice 2-dimensional horizontal shooter. You have a standard fire, which is the yellow bullets that I'm always shooting out. And then the manipulator arm grabs and uses the different weapons, like the Gatling gun, the cannon, there's missiles, there's even a lightsaber. Each gun pod has 2 different positions, and something like the missiles, if it's on the top position, they become homing missiles, where if you have it underneath you, it just shoots forward. And you can see on the cannon, you can use it beneath you, or you can flip it upwards and shoot things above you. I think that the game may have been inspired a bit by Blade Runner, and frankly, I like it. I like the dystopian vision of the future with the neon and the radio chatter. It's just brilliant. This game is so well designed. And even on the Sony PlayStation 1, it looks tremendous. It's a 2-dimensional game, but they use 3-dimensional elements. And it can get confusing at first to figure out if things are in front of you, behind you in a 3-dimensional space, or coming at you from the 2-dimensional plane in which you're fighting. So this game requires a lot of playing and memorization to get through the levels. But it's a lot of fun. It doesn't seem to get repetitive and boring because things are moving so fast in this game, and you have to be doing a lot of things at once. You've got to watch the enemies in front of you to shoot them. You have to figure out which gun pods you have. The attention to detail on this game is incredible. When I was using the cannon, you could see the shell casings flying out the side of it. The Gatling gun spins. And even in the 3-dimensional parts of the game, you can see the gun spinning and its little shell casings are flying out the side of it. All of this makes this game tremendously fun. And I'm nowhere near skilled enough yet to win this game, but I'm having fun trying. For a Sony PlayStation 1 game, now in 2008, this game still commands a fairly high price tag.
Order the following operation. The armored trains were discovered leaving the city on their way to the east. Pursue them and locate the enemy supply route.
I picked this game up for $35 off eBay, and that was without packaging. If you have a Sony Playstation 3, even the 40 gig model, which is the version that I have, this plays out over the HDMI cable and just looks tremendous. Here's a great use of the three-dimensional environment where I'm launching the homing missiles to shoot the things in the background before they come into the foreground. I love the train in the background, and as you can tell, I love pretty much everything about this game. The first couple times you play it, it is really confusing to figure out what's behind you and what's in front of you. And since I didn't have the instructions, it took me a while to figure out how to use the different gun pods as well. This is one of the trickiest parts of the game. These things keep popping up out of this train, and they're using the different weapons, and then when you blow them up, you can collect the weapons and use it against them. So I'm using the Wasp here, which is the homing missiles, and just try not to get hit. Einhander has infinite replay value because you can play the game with any one of the different ships, and as I understand it, there's actually 2 unlockable fighters. I'm sure you can read online and figure out how to unlock those. I haven't done that yet. The other 2 versions of the fighters are, there's one that has just a double shot in the front, and I don't think you can change the gun pods. And then there's another version of the fighter, another modification where you can use only 2 gun pods and not the standard shot. But this is the one I found to be the most fun to use, and it requires a lot of concentration. Sometimes I found myself getting confused when I was trying to equip all of my gun pods and not paying attention to the enemies attacking me, and then exploded horribly. You can equip 3 gun pods where you're using 1 and have 2 in reserve, and then if you come across another gun pod that you want to collect that's different than one of the 3 that you have, it will replace the gun pod that you're currently using. This is a video game that requires multitasking. It does follow the traditional two-dimensional shmup style of having an enemy with seemingly unlimited amounts of money to build a ridiculous army of machines that have questionable military value. But they're a lot of fun to blow up, and that's really why we play these games to begin with. The Einhander does not refer to one hand extended in friendship to your enemies. That wouldn't be a very fun game to run around and shake hands. Like, hey, how are you, giant police robot with a cannon? It's nice to meet you.